Good evening, everyone. I am Ratnagari. I am just sharing this on behalf of the department, and our speaker today is Dr. Renita, who used to be in our faculty, but now she is still with UM, but is the librarian, and she has a PhD, and she's done a lot of systematic reviews as well as the research, and she'll be covering not systematic review today, but more to how to conduct the literature review in general, which is going to be useful for regardless of whether you are going to publish a manuscript or whether you are going to be using it for your thesis chapter if you're doing the GS program. Okay, thank you. So, Dr. Renita, I pass it over to you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Gary, for inviting me again for this sharing session with the clinical master students and also the lecturers if they are here. Good afternoon, everyone. So basically, like what Dr. Gary has introduced, because I was actually working at the medical library for 15 years, and I've just started at the Department of Arts and Social Science under the Department of Library and Information Science as a senior lecturer here. So basically, I think I've met some of you during the orientation session early semester. So hi again. So basically for this session, because I was actually invited by Dr. Gavri to give some inputs regarding certain things here. Let me just check again. Yeah, so basically it's about conducting a literature review. So we will have another session with me, okay, on the 20th on literature search hands-on. So probably that will be some sort of like hands-on session, especially using the databases and how to conduct the literature search. But what I would like to do today is basically about the preparation. Okay, of course, when it comes to literature review, of course, it is some sort of like, giving some idea on how you are going to write your literature review. Okay, so the previous session you had with Prof. Vairavan, okay, was on the research questions, objectives, and hypotheses. So the next is also how to conduct a literature review. So basically, literature review usually the second chapter, or if you are writing a thesis, okay, your dissertation, it will be the chapter 2. Okay, so of course, how it looks like. Okay, so basically, we know what is a literature review, but when it comes to a thesis, okay, so for example, I'm just sharing this thesis here, example of a thesis. Okay, I think this would help you to imagine, okay, visualize your own thesis later on, okay, because this is something that you have to do. Okay, so this is an example that I took from one of the theses related to surgery. Okay, so chapter 2, okay, so this is what you have to come out with. Okay, so this is how a nicely written literature review. Okay, so they have the subheadings. Of course, it's something, they have the subheadings, okay, from the you have the, of course, you have the background, right? Of course, you have a research question, okay, in your first chapter. Okay, so I'm just refreshing things for you. So basically what you have learned earlier, okay, of course, you have your background, okay, so your background, okay, and then you will have your research problem, your problem statement over here, and then the rationale of the study, the research questions, your objectives. Okay, you have general objectives, maybe specific objectives. Okay, it really depends on your research area. Okay, and then of course you will have your hypothesis. Okay, so these are what you can actually find in your chapter 1. All right, what about chapter 2? So this is, so after identifying all those things that that you want to look at, okay, the things that you want to actually find the answers, okay, because you already have the objectives, you have the research questions. Now you need to find the answers. Okay, so this is a very, very important step, okay, because you want to look at what are the gaps that you can actually find from the literature. Okay, of course, there must be something lacking in the literature. So that is why you are doing this topic. Okay, of course, you find that, okay, after searching from the literature, okay, maybe you have done like some sort of preliminary search earlier. okay, you found that, okay, you know what, there are lack of studies looking at this area. Okay, this area is less people have actually looked at this area, and you might want to search on this. Okay, and you want to do some research on this. So that's why you decided to even come up with this topic, right? So now this chapter 2 itself, the literature review section itself, will help to, you know, identify some sort of like reading what have been conducted earlier on. Okay, so these are the things that you might want to look at. So list down. Okay, for me, it's important for you to like draft your subheadings. Okay, so these are the things that you want to discuss later. Okay, so basically literature review is to find for research studies or studies that has been conducted earlier. Okay, we want to see what are the things that have been conducted, okay, that you might want to search. Okay, I will teach you how to search later. Okay, and then from there we might have a look at what are the gaps. Okay, so that is why the literature review section is very important, because this will actually support, okay, your whole study. Okay, if there is already a written or a published paper or research thesis on this topic, there's no point of you writing it again. Okay, make sure your research is original. Okay, that means there's and very unique, because there's no one has conducted on this topic before. So this is where your searching skills, your searching techniques are very important. Okay, so you need to know how to do a proper search. Okay, so that's why I think Dr. Gauri have actually invited me to, you know, give this topic, because in order to come up with a literature review, you need to know how to even search for the papers. Okay, right. So you'll have a look at this. Okay, you see. So usually the literature review will have subheadings. Okay, to come up with subheadings, you need studies, you need papers. Okay, articles that has been published earlier. All right. So these are all the this is just one of the example. Okay. So what I will usually do. Okay, so usually the literature review section will be quite lengthy, okay, because you need to like do a lot of readings. Of course, you need to come up with some sort of like idea of what to even like write, and it has to flow, okay, it has to flow. All right, hold on. Okay, you have to make sure your story, okay, in your literature review makes sense. Okay, and it has to really support your research. Okay, so this is just an example, right? So just have a look at this. So of course, before I even start writing my own thesis, okay, what I usually do is that I will actually search for example of other studies. Okay, for example, if let's say you're doing your master's, right? Of course, you need to come up your own dissertation later on. So what I will usually do is look at other thesis or dissertation that has been published or you know has been published earlier. Okay, what you can actually do is go to the library website or even the library and have a look at how the dissertation has been written. Okay, so then you will get some idea on how to even draft your own thesis or your paper. Okay, so basically today I am just going to give some introduction. Okay, a very it's not going to be very lengthy today, because it's just going to be a very brief session, because I think that if I go into detail, then I'm afraid that we won't have much time. Okay, since we only have like 1 hour session. So I'm also going to like prepare you with the steps in searching, because since we are going to have the hands-on session. Sorry. Okay, so since we are going to have another session on the hands-on and to search for literature, so I am going to prep you. Okay, I'm just going to give you some theory so that you can actually just continue during the hands-on session. Okay, so and then how to develop your search strategy. All right, so Yeah, just to share with you, because nowadays we are into the AI tools. Okay, of course you are familiar with certain apps or tools that can actually help you to answer questions. Okay, to help you to write and things like that. So what I can share with you today is that there are also tools that can be used to conduct a literature review. Okay, which I think something that is not just it's beyond ChatGPT. Okay, it's beyond that because there are many tools that are available. Sorry, so this sorry, yeah. Hello.
Yeah, can hear you.
Sorry. Okay, yeah. So basically, this AI tool can be very useful also for you to write your own literature review. So in terms of the search, of course, you can search in the, so we have like for example, PubMed, and then we have Google Scholar. Okay, we have Elicit. All right, in terms of the mapping, okay, how to actually put your findings, okay, into a map form. Okay, so that is where Research Rabbit will come in, and then we have connected papers, okay, that actually help you to visualize your research papers, okay, and then to explore the papers and also to look at the trend, okay, that are relevant to your own fieldwork. Okay, why not? You can try to actually explore these tools that will help you to write your own literature review later on. And then we have lead maps. Okay, I've used a few of these tools, and somehow it actually helped me to write my own literature review. Okay, because it's not just using the common one, which is ChatGPT, and you have a few other tools. But also, why not? You can actually try to explore this other tools that can actually help you to focus on literature review. Okay, and then we have writing. Of course, if you are familiar with Grammarly, Grammarly is actually to help you to improve your grammar, your spelling, and all that, and how you write your thesis. Okay, and then of course we have PaperPal, and then we have Quipboard. Okay, this is like a tool to help you to paraphrase your sentence and things like that. It's not, we are trying, we are actually not encouraging students to copy and paste and things like that, but we are giving options to students to actually explore things. Okay, and we want to avoid plagiarism. Okay, we want to avoid students to plagiarize things, copy and paste, and then they just cite it. No, it's not like that. Okay, so these are the tools that actually can help you to explore more than what is in the search databases and things like that. Okay, all right. And then the citation, of course, you can actually use Zotero, okay, Mendeley, and of course, in we encourage everyone to use EndNote. Okay, I'm sure that Dr. Tanya, I think she's going to give you a talk on EndNote. Okay, so please make use of that EndNote tools, okay, software, because that will be very helpful to for you to manage your citations. Okay, all right. So this is just to share with you. It is some extra things that I want to highlight lah. Okay, so basically, these are the steps in conducting literature review. So what I will usually do is that I have this search strategy worksheet. Okay, so from this search strategy worksheet, you have the research topic, okay, or research question. So I will usually share this worksheet with everyone, okay, for my students. But of course, there are also uh let me see if I have the Pico one. Yeah. Okay, so this strategy worksheet, I usually share with everyone because I think it's some sort of like can help you to organize or plan your research. Okay, so of course you have your research title, okay, and then your review questions. Okay, so what you can do is you put your review questions. I'm pretty sure you already have your own research question and your research objectives and all that. Okay, and then put it there. And then from your research question, identify the PICO. Okay, I'm not sure how much you know PICO in detail, but PICO will actually help you to do your search later. Okay, have to guide your search later. I will have some explanation on that later on. So, and then you identify the databases, okay, and then your study design. Okay, so this is where you list down all your keywords, and from the keywords you need to find your medical subject headings. Okay, and then what you can actually do is to find for key papers. Okay, I will go into detail when we have the hands-on session later for the next session. Okay, so but for today, for the beginning, okay, I think we start with this first. Okay, so I will share with you the slides and also the worksheet with Puan Nick, all right, and she will share this with y'all so that y'all can start writing up your own. Okay, I'm pretty sure y'all already have your topic, so y'all just need to draft it up. Okay, and then inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria is very important because from these criteria that will actually decide your search later on. Okay, and then of course this is where you need to jot down your search strategy. Okay, and then when did you conduct the search, which databases that you actually use to search, and how many hits you got from each databases. Okay, so that is just some guidelines, okay, some sort of a guide for you to how to start. Okay, sometimes somebody will ask me like where I should start, so that is where you can actually start. Okay, get your PICO done first. Okay, all right, so first thing, okay, you need to formulate a question, okay, a research question. All right, and then next is to identify the keywords and search terms. And then of course, you have to identify your databases and search into all these databases. And then you have to screen and select the studies. And then you have to get the full text, okay? And then you need to organize and summarize your findings, okay? And then you have to assess the quality of the findings that you got, and then you have to synthesize the findings and then create an outline, okay? Create an outline, okay? This is where you need to like come up with your own outline of your subheadings and things like that. And then finally, you have to write the literature review, all right? So basically, like you need to, first step is, of course, you need a question. Okay, if there is no question, then it's very hard for you to even conduct a study. Okay, so you have to really articulate your research question or objective because this will actually guide your literature search and review. Okay, so based on your research question, your search will come nicely based on that. All right, so and then you have to make sure you include your inclusion exclusion criteria and then to produce a narrow and answerable question. All right, and then the next step is to translate the clinical problem into a focus question. Okay, so now I am not sure like which stage are you right now, but somehow you already have the idea, okay, like what study or problem, clinical problem that you want to conduct a research on. Okay, so this is where you need to translate or transform, okay, the clinical question into focus question. Okay, clinical problem into a focus question. So just imagine you have a problem, okay, in your clinic, and you think that, okay, you know what, I need to conduct a search. Okay, I think I need to, I can do a search or study on this topic. Okay, so you translate that into a focus question. So make sure your question is not too broad and not too narrow. Why I'm telling you is because when you have too broad questions, okay, when your research question is too broad, of course you will get a lot of articles, you know, but how relevant it is, you're not sure. Okay, of course you have a lot of articles because your question is too broad. That's why please make sure your question is not too broad. Okay, there's too many components in your question, there's too many keywords in your question. Okay, avoid that. Try to get at least like in between. Okay, for me, not too narrow and not too broad. Okay, if it's too narrow, then you might get a lot of articles. Yes, of course you will get no, you will get very less articles. Sorry, you will get very less articles, but
I mute.
sorry. Okay, so you will have a low search results, but you will definitely get relevant articles. But if it's too narrow, sometimes it really depends on your topic. Yeah, when I say this, sometimes your topic can be very common topic, common research area. Okay, but if it's too unique, sometimes there are very less papers and things like that, then it can be very narrow. So, but what I'm trying to say here is that try to make sure it's that your question itself is not too broad or too narrow. Okay, that will actually affect your search later on. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to use an example here. Like for example, this one. I think I've used this before also. Ultrasound shear wave elastography for the evaluation of renal pathological changes in adult with kidney disease. Okay, so this is just a very simple question, and we want to know, okay, the evaluation of renal pathological changes. Okay, so by using this ultra shear wave elastography. Okay, so what we will do is that once you already have that question, okay, you already have a question, so now you want to translate that into your search, right? So it's important for you to use this PICO framework, right? Because from this research question, you can actually use this framework to actually guide your next step. Okay, so that's why I said this session is actually to prep you, okay, for your next session, which is the hands-on on the searching part. Okay, so what we can actually do is that using this PICO, all right, from your question, identify what is your PICNO. Okay, if you don't have any of this component, it's okay. It's not like a must thing. Okay, but you have to make sure there's something written in this table lah. Okay, so if you have patient, of course you need to put that down. Okay, who are the population? All right, the gender, maybe woman, adult, elderly, and things like that. So you have to put that under P. Then you have I, okay, which is focusing on the intervention. If there's any specific drug treatment, diagnostic screening test, okay, you can put it there. And then comparison, okay, if you have something to compare with the intervention, of course, you can put it there as well. So you might want to like compare, right, drug A and drug B and things like that. Okay, and then the outcome. So what are you trying to accomplish? All right. So for example, if you want to read, if that study is actually reduce mortality or morbidity or improve memory and things like that. So, and then of course you have S, okay, because okay, S stands for study design. Okay, if your study you are going to focus only on, for example, RCT. Okay, so then you have to make sure you include your study design. What you can actually do is when you want to conduct your study later on, you have to be clear with what you are going to search. Are you going to focus your search only for RCT? Okay, are you like answering the questions based on RCT studies or something like that? So you have to be clear, because you can actually use the search strategy later designed for RCT into your search strategy later on. Okay, all right, so we have RCT as the study design, for example. Okay, all right, so of course for qualitative, I'm not sure whether you are going to do a qualitative study or not. Okay, I can see there's few questions. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay, there's no questions yet, right? Okay, all right. Okay, never mind. If there's any question, just stop me and ask, yeah? All right, so if let's say you have a qualitative study that you are going to do later on, okay, you can use SPICE, okay? And then if there is a study like looking at the health policies or management information, you can use Eclipse. So there are different types of framework, but I'm not going to touch all because I think most of you will be doing the quantitative study design, research design, because that is the most fastest, I guess. Okay, I know you have a certain time of limit of time, right? That you have to finish your dissertation and all that. So most of you might be doing, because I've seen dissertations from surgery, so I can see that most of the studies are looking at the quantitative study design, so research design. So yeah. All right, so if you're doing a scoping review, okay, we use PCC. So these are all frameworks, yeah? This is just a very simple framework that will actually help you to search later on. Okay, so looking at this question again, all right, look at this. So from this question, we identify the PICNO. All right, so we have the population is, of course, adult with kidney disease. All right, the intervention here is ultrasound shear wave elastography. And then the comparison, we are not comparing anything with this ultrasound. All right, and then outcome is to evaluate the renal pathological changes. Okay, all right, so that is how we identify those components for PICO. All right, so from that, you can actually come up with your PICO. All right, and then now next is to identify the keywords and search terms. So this is where you need to develop a list of keywords and search terms related to your topic. All right, this is where you need to jot down as many search terms as possible, whether it's a free text term, something that are common, okay, that you're used to it, okay. It doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong at this point of time. Okay, you just need to list down as many keywords as possible. Find the synonyms as many as possible. All right, use both broad and specific terms to ensure comprehensive coverage. Okay, so what I will usually do is I will conduct a preliminary search. Okay, what I will do is that I will conduct a preliminary search. This is where I will just do a Google search actually. Okay, that's what we usually do, right? We always go and Google. All right, so that is what I usually do also, okay? So I will just Google for my topic, all right? I will use, but don't, make sure you don't like copy and the whole question and put it in the search box, but try to only select keywords, okay? Select few keywords and put in your search box and then you search, because we don't want it to be, but there are people who actually just copy the whole question and just search, right? But try to avoid that. Use keywords, all right? Use keywords and make sure you use the Boolean operator and all that later I will share with you. All right, use all those things and then you search, all right? So you want to see whether there are any similar studies that have been conducted or not. Okay, if let's say the studies that you found, okay, they are similar to your study, look at their outcome. Sometimes there's no point of you conducting a study which is already published earlier. Okay, so we don't want to waste time, right? Of course, we need to make sure we work smart on this lah. Okay, because I have actually done a study also before where the study has actually been published a few years ago. So I wasted quite some like 3 to 5, no, 6 months. Okay, 6 months just doing things that has actually been published earlier. So why not you actually conduct your search, okay, in Google or Google Scholar or PubMed, okay, and see if there are any similar studies that has been conducted earlier or not, okay. And if let's say there are papers being published, look at the outcome. Sometimes it is not the same. Okay, sometimes the outcome might look at certain things, and you might want to have a look at the different angle of it, so you can actually compare. All right, and you can just proceed with your own research. Okay, so look at their studies, other studies. Okay, all right, start with that. Okay, and then once you already identified that, the next step is to construct, okay, a reproducible search strategy. So this is where I will turn this into what I would say it's the PICO. Okay, from the PICO, this is where we need to highlight all the keywords. Okay, remember I told you the free text terms. Okay, you need to put everything here. Okay, identify your free text terms. Okay, medical subject heading. All right, medical subject heading is also important. Okay, that is actually a standard term for it for certain keywords. All right, so what I will usually do is that we highlight or write down all the keywords or synonyms related to the components, okay, the concept. So from PICO, I will turn it to concept right now. So where we have population, intervention, sorry, this is outcome, right? So we have kidney disease, all the synonyms for kidney disease, as many as possible. Okay, we don't want to miss things. Okay, we don't want to miss papers. So it doesn't matter, correct or wrong, doesn't matter. Okay, at this stage, we just want to list down as many as possible, right? So list down the kidney disease, and then list down the synonyms for shear wave elastography, and then the outcome biopsy, right? Include that, all the synonyms for that. Okay, so we have 3 concepts. So I want to also highlight here, yeah, you have to make sure you know how many components that you have to search. Okay, how many concepts that you need to include in your search. All right, so there are four concepts over here, right? So you have to identify whether you want to include the population keyword and also intervention keywords and also the outcome keywords, or you just want to put population and intervention. You have to decide. Okay, the reason why I included outcome in my search results because in the search box, because if we only look at the population and intervention, it's too broad. Can you imagine or not? Because when I put ultrasound shear wave elastography and also adult patient with kidney disease, your result is going to be very broad. Okay, so that's why when you think that if two concepts are not enough, means that it's too broad, okay, then you add in the third concept. If you think that the third concept is also not enough and it's still broad, then you need to also include another concept. All right, so these are the things that you have to play around. Okay, when there is a comparison, it can be 3 concepts. All right, if let's say, for example, you want to only look at Malaysia, okay, or Southeast Asia region, okay, or maybe you just want to look at certain area, okay, so you can actually add another component. So make it even more specific, okay, but don't be too specific. Try to explore things first, okay, don't directly go to 4 concepts. Try to start with at least 2 first. If you think that it's too broad, then you add in the third concept. If you think that if it's like too broad, you have to play around with it. Okay, right. Okay, yeah, so basically, so this is where you need to find all your keywords, all right? Get it from your dictionary or, thesaurus or whatever, okay? Of course, you can also get from papers, okay? When you go through your preliminary study, you can actually see the keywords under the abstract. So you can actually get some idea what keywords that they use for your area lah, the research subject. Okay, so I was talking about medical subject heading because I think it's important for me to actually mention everything here because later on you can just focus on the searching part. Okay, so basically for medical subject heading, of course, it is a standard terminology lah, okay, used by the indexer to help to find articles on the topic. All right, and because it's a controlled vocab of subject terms, okay, that will actually help you to capture more papers. Okay, this term, okay, this is a standard term that has been, for example, when you go to PubMed, okay, I will do that when we have the hands-on session next time, okay? I will teach you how to search for the medical subject heading, okay? So because that is a standard term that will actually help you to explore more papers and capture more papers, okay? Instead of just depending on your free text term. Okay, and then of course, like for Medline, PubMed, CINAHL, Cochrane, we use medical subject heading. But if it's the database from Embase, they use the term M3. Okay, so of course, from the PubMed database, you can actually see MeSH database over here. Okay, so that is where we get the medical subject heading. Okay, you see? So this is how it looks like. So for example, right, so this is a paper that we got from PubMed, and you see, so they use the keywords. So usually they have the abstract, all right? So from the abstract, you can actually see the keywords, okay? So this is also one of the idea or like how to get keywords for your synonyms, all right? And then this is the MeSH, okay? So you see the MeSH terms here. So if you search in PubMed or any of the databases, medical related databases, usually they will have the medical subject heading terms like this. So you can actually get the idea of what terms that they use, okay? I will also teach you how to search for medical terms. There's a shortcut lah, okay? There's a shortcut way of like how to search for the medical subject heading without going through the steps like this, okay? It's a very fast technique, okay? So when you look at this, so this is a kidney disease MeSH, medical subject heading. So under that, you can actually see when you go to medical subject heading, there is entry terms. So these are all the keywords that they use. Okay, the librarians use. So for example, like medical, PubMed, right? So it is under National Library of Medicine. Okay, yeah. So basically, this is where we get our medical subject heading. All right. So you just need to. So we will do the hands-on session next time. All right. So it is important to also include the Boolean operator. Okay. So when you want to search, make sure if you want to expand your search, you use OR. Okay. And if let's say if you want to combine and make it narrower and more strategic findings, okay, or results, use and. Okay, and then if we don't really encourage everyone to use not first, okay, in your search. Okay, so this is how it looks like. All right, just let me know if this doesn't make sense, or if it's like something that you don't understand. Okay, so basically we have three concepts over here. We have decided, right? We have our research question, we have identified our PICO, we turn that into concept, and now from the concept, we add the medical subject heading and also the free text word. Okay, so make sure you have the combination of both. Okay, so TIAB is title abstract, yeah? So these are the keywords that we have as a free text term, okay? The layman term, I would say. Okay, so these are the keywords that we have, and we use title abstract as um the indicator. Okay, and also we use medical subject heading. Right, so we need to make sure each concepts, okay, we combine it with OR. Right, so this is a very basic or fundamental things that you should know when you want to do a search. Okay, it's not just about putting everything into your search box and search. No, you have to make sure the OR is to actually to expand more keywords or more results. All right, if you have three concepts, make sure you have OR for all concepts. Okay, and then why we combine the title abstract and also medical subject heading? Because title abstract want the system to capture papers based on the title abstract. If the keyword is not important and we don't put title abstract, we put all field, then you might notice that kidney disease will only be in your reference section. You know, sometimes that is why some students, they come to me and the results are too big, okay, because the results are too large because you don't instruct the system to only search for title abstract. If you don't put title abstract, you put all fields, then the keywords can be everywhere. All right, so that's why it's important to instruct the system, okay, what to do. Okay, so you have to combine title abstract and also mesh. Okay, all right, so once you have already put OR for all the same concepts, when you want to combine three concepts together, you need AND. Okay, remember you need AND because AND will actually help you to combine three concepts, and the results will have three components itself. Okay, that means that it won't be individually like this anymore. Okay, so it will be together. So in that particular results, you will have at least kidney disease, you will have something about shear wave elastography, and also you will have something about biopsy. So that's why your search results will be very specific. Okay, it's not going to be like everywhere anymore. Okay, so it's going to be very nicely captured, including all these three concepts. Okay, so I think this part is clear. If is there any question that you want to ask regarding this searching part?
Hey, Dr. Anita, I'm Ida here. I would like to ask you questions because according to what you write here, you put in the what we call the mesh or the free text term that says if let's say it's a chronic kidney disease and all. But if let's say we want to compare certain conditions, such as the patient is having the urinary catheter bag, how do we got some I mean. Suggestions to compare with colostomy and all. How do we come into such comparisons to make the literature review become broadened?
Okay,
Because
yeah, thank you for the question, doctor. So basically, when you have like two disease, you are comparing two disease, right?
actually we are comparing just for
Two
the
different
patients.
interventions, one with the
Yeah.
stoma back to the, yeah. like kind of two with the same disease, but one with stoma bag. So they want to kind of like, I
Nice.
don't think it's broader, it's more to narrow it down into the two groups and then have papers which actually look at these comparing it, papers which look at it individually like that. How would they search it? Because MASH terms will then end up getting all the papers and then and you might miss out some of these things. So they want to break it down. I don't know whether you want to put that in inclusion or exclusion criteria.
Ah, I see. So basically, okay, I understand your question. So basically, you have one disease and then you have two interventions to like treat that particular disease, for example, right? So basically, what we will usually do is I will consider that I will put that in my search term because sometimes there are papers that will actually look at both. Okay, there will be papers looking at that two particular interventions treating that particular disease. So I might want to explore first and see if there are papers looking at these two interventions and to actually treat this disease. Okay, if let's say you really can't find it, okay, what probably we can actually do is that we can search one by one first. Okay, maybe this intervention, search for this particular disease first, and then probably you go for another search and see if there is another intervention that actually treat this disease. So what I can suggest now is that you try to explore using the two interventions first. That means you have to include that particular intervention, okay, and then to treat the population. Does that make sense?
Uh,
Lah.
okay.
Who is that? Sorry. So yeah, Dr. Ida, is that clear?
Is that
Kind
clearer
of, yeah. I got the point lah, but then yeah.
Yeah, you really need to put your things into the PICO nicely first, okay, and then you see how you can actually come up with the search terms and all that. Then later, once you already that's why I said the worksheet is very important. That will actually help you to visualize how your search is going to be like. Okay, so based on my experience, that's what I did before, where if you have two interventions like that, we usually search and see whether if there are papers looking at these two interventions treating this particular disease, for example.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Just to that.
Yeah.
So basically what I think Dr. Renta is suggesting and what we are trying to say is when you search it, make it also a keyword in your search. So with or without that term. So it will be a keyword, or if there's variations to keyword, it could be a MASH term on its own, stoma bag. Okay, so when you search, you put an N and or, depending on whether you want the papers only, make sure all the papers only have it, or if it doesn't matter if it has stoma bag or not. So that way it broadens the search, like what you said earlier. So basically use it as a keyword in your search. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I said when you have this kind of concepts, that will actually help you, because if you think there's too many, okay, because if you put everything together, I understand when you have the MASH and then you have the title abstract and all that, so it will be a lot. Yes, I can totally agree with you when it's going to be a lot. All right, but no harm in trying that first, because sometimes there's not many papers that you can actually find on that particular topic. So I would suggest that you try it out first and see how it goes. Okay, if let's say if you have any other questions that you want to ask me later, we can have another session. Okay, personally. Okay, and then we can discuss on that later. Okay, Dr. Ida. All right.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Anita.
Okay, all right. So basically, this is how a complete search strategy is going to look like. All right. So once you already put everything together, okay, and remember we have to put the inverted comma, yeah. When we have a keyword that has more than one. Okay. So for example, like kidney disease, we put inverted comma. All right, because and again, sometimes I can say that some of the system right now, okay, they have actually upgraded, and of course, there are certain databases and all that. They are a bit more, they use this artificial AI things and all that. So it's better that they manage to capture if you don't use the inverted comma. But I still practice this because sometimes it really helps me, and it really helps me to specifically looking at certain things. Okay, so it's good to also include the inverted comma when you have a keyword that has more than one keyword like this. So for example, kidney disease, you have to put inverted comma, okay, so that your search results will only focus on kidney disease. If you don't, then probably it might you will get more papers lah, because kidney will be in one corner, disease will be in one corner. There's so many diseases. Okay, so you want it to be together, inverted comma. All right, so we have this. So this is how a complete search strategy. Even if you are doing a dissertation, okay, even if it's a simple search or case study or whatever search that you are doing right now, okay, whatever research area you're doing right now, for me, when it comes to because searching is search, definitely you need to search, okay, somehow the skill of searching is like you have to know the basic. Okay, so make sure you know how to come up with the keywords like this, and then how to combine it with or and. Okay, so this, once you are happy with this search strategy, then only start searching from other databases. Okay, so look at this. So this is an example from PubMed. Okay, so I will actually go step by step. Okay, so this is what we are going to do for the next session. So basically that will be a hands-on session, full hands-on session on how to actually put your keywords and come up with a search strategy like this. Okay, so once we know how to do that, then probably that will be easier for you to straight away work on your own topic. Okay, all right, so we search with the title abstract first, and then the medical subject heading, and then we go from one concept to another concept. Okay, so the next session we will be able to see your own topic. Okay, so I will let you know what you have to do next round, so that you can straight away, we can do it together. Okay, all right, so the next step is once you already search for the databases, and then this is the step where you need to search for other databases as well. So once you already search in PubMed, next you replicate into other databases. Try to consider at least 3 to 4 databases for your search, because we don't want to only depend on one particular database, because sometimes one particular database might, they have the coverage is a little bit different. Sometimes you are looking at surgery, so there are actually some databases that has more papers looking at surgery, for example. So we want to explore, okay, not only focusing on one particular database. So of course it's good to have 2 to 3 other databases lah, okay, just to search. All right, okay, so consider using Boolean operators and or and not. Okay, so these are the example of databases that we have. Okay, so it's almost 4. I'll try to finish by 4:05. Is that okay, Dr. Gauri? Since we started late, right, just now.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, even by 4:15 should be okay. No problem.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the databases, looking at the databases, so these are the example of databases. So that's why I said try to explore other databases. Okay, so we have Signal, Embase, Lilac. So there are open access databases, and there are also subscribed databases. So for Library, so since you are all you can access to the Library databases, of course you can actually access to all these databases and make use of all these resources. Okay, so we have Signal, okay, and then we have Ovid Medline. We have VitalSigns, we have Cochrane Library, okay, we have Scopus, all right. Lilac, Pedro is all open access. Even Embase, I'm sorry, we don't really have that, but that is an example of a database that you can actually use. Okay, so try to search more than just PubMed, okay? All right, that's what I'm trying to say. So we will try to do some hands-on later with at least 2 or 3 databases next week. Okay, so not only databases, try to also search from the gray literature. I'm not sure how much time you have for that searching and all that. So, but if let's say if you can't really find for papers from the databases, try to also search for literature or resources from all these gray literature databases. So for example, we have OpenGray. So if you want to look at the technical reports, conference proceeding, thesis, dissertation, so you can actually do that. right? So the next step is to screen and select the studies. So what you can actually do is that you can use the EndNote. Okay, so this is where you will, Dr. Tanya, I think will cover on that. So these tools will actually remove duplicates, okay, sort your results and organize your results. Okay, so this is an example of how you are going to export your reference to a software manager. So EndNote, there is, sorry, UM Library, we subscribe to EndNote, so you can actually use that. Okay, so these are all the databases that you search. You can actually export everything here. Okay, so we have Prisma flowchart. Okay, so if you are just doing a simple study like this, what you can actually do is that, sorry, so what you can actually do is that you can actually use this Prisma and put that in your method section, because this will be very transparent. Everything will be recorded, and you need to report how you actually conduct your search, how you screen your data, okay, how many papers you use for eligibility for your study, and how many you included in your review and things like that. Okay, so the next step is, of course, to get full text. Okay, so full text is very important. If let's say you want to assess the methodology results, okay, for each study, then the next step is to organize and to summarize. And of course, you need to organize the selected articles by themes, methodology, and key findings, and then summarize the main points of the study. Okay, so that is where another section that I'm going to share with you is this part here. Okay, research method, model research table. Okay, so this research table can be used for those. So this research table can be used for those who wants to do some literature search, and then they have identified all those key papers, okay, the included papers, and you can actually use this table. Okay, try to list down, okay, and then extract the data from the papers. Okay, so it's important to identify the purpose, okay, the what you have found, okay, what are the major findings, okay. So this will be helpful for you to write your literature review later on, okay, because there's, after reading all those papers, you need to jot down somewhere, right? So come up with a table like this. All right, you can actually add some more. Okay, you can actually add more columns over here, and then what you can actually do is to summarize everything here. So next time, if you have a table like this, it's easy for you to refer back, okay, because sometimes you can't remember what you have read, right? So it's good to have a table like this and then identify, okay, so these are the things that should go into this subheading, this section. Okay, this section I've read this, so this is how you manage your table. Okay, so it's kind of like interesting. Okay, so to see what findings they have found. So this will also be useful for your discussion section as well, section as well. Okay, so try to come up with a table like this lah. Okay, all right, and then you assess your quality of the papers or studies that you have selected. Of course, look at the study design, sample size, the methodology, and also the potential biases. Okay, because we don't want to really depend on one particular study which has, you know, the quality of the study is not that there's some fishy things that they have that in the study and all that. So you might want to also look at the quality of it. Okay, and then of course the next step is to synthesize the findings. Okay, you have to analyze them and then identify the common trends. Okay, what are the conflicting results and the gaps in the literature? And then the next step is to create an outline. Okay, organize your literature review into a structured outline. Of course, you can have the literature review where sometimes it's also good to have a very detailed points or subheadings, because that will actually help you to be more clear of what you actually going to do. All right, and then finally you have to write the literature review. Begin writing your literature review based on the outline, and then clearly present the key findings, the implication, and the overall state of knowledge in the field. Okay, so So take home message here is that please cite your literature review properly. Okay, and please ensure you cite all the resources properly using a citation style appropriate for your field. So for example, we use APA. Okay, APA 7th annotated. So if you are using EndNote, EndNote will actually create the citation for you. You just need to generate them. Okay, so please cite if you are using any of the AI tools, okay, make sure you don't plagiarize. Okay, make sure you have the proper citation. Okay, and then stay updated. So make sure when you do your literature review, okay, make sure you periodically update your literature review to include the most recent studies. Okay, try to also look, it really depends on your topic. Yeah, if sometimes you're looking at the history, probably you might need something that you know, previous years. But then if let's say it's something trending and things like that, a topic is very common right now, make sure you include recent studies, okay, for your literature review. Okay, this is especially important in rapidly evolving fields. Okay, right. So for surgery, I believe there are many topics right now that are very important that you can actually find studies that are recent. Okay, so get recent papers. And then make sure, remember to use the phrase searching, the inverted comma, okay, when you want to search. And then the truncation, of course, I always mention this because sometimes it's really, really helpful to capture papers that use these keywords just by using these root words, okay? So we have, for example, compute, you put an asterisk at the back, it will actually find more keywords, more results with this particular keyword, right? Wildcard, but now not really because the system, I noticed that most of the databases, they can actually capture spelling variants as well. Okay, British, American, plural, singular, and things like that. So not really, but truncation, I think it's still valid. Okay, and then yeah, so remember I was saying also just now, if let's say you are focusing on randomized controlled trial studies, so you can actually just copy the search strategy which has been developed earlier. So you just need to copy and paste in your search strategy. Okay, all right, and then of course find for similar studies, okay, that has review, so you can actually just use the keywords and then use that for your own study. Okay, so the goal of a literature review is to provide a comprehensive overview of the existing literature, highlight gaps, and set the stage for your own research. And also it's crucial to approach the process systematically and critically evaluate the sources you include in your review. All right, and finally, there are no perfect search strategy developed for the first time. Of course, you need to refine again and again. Okay, because you need to try and error when you want to search. Okay, so if let's say you have things that you want to ask, okay, if you're not sure, okay, you can always email me, all right, or we have, I'm not sure if my librarian colleagues are in this session or not, but I've invited them. Okay, if you have any questions about the search, of course, you can always get them, you can consult with them also. Okay, so I will also share with you where you can actually get all these example of theses, okay, in our next session, okay, because since we don't have much time now, everything about the search will be in the next session. All right, so is there any other questions that you want to ask? Are there any other questions? Any questions that you might, you know, you're still confused or things like that? Any questions? No questions. All okay?
I think all okay. Is it quiet?
They're quiet. Yeah. No questions? Oh, clear. Okay. All right. So yeah, if you have any other questions, we can have that in our next session because that one will be more specifically looking at the search and how to conduct the search. Okay, I will teach you on that. Yeah. So far okay. Yeah. so far. Okay, so if there is nothing else, I think we can end the session, Dr. Gauri.
Dr. Anita, thank you very much
Yeah.
for everyone
Yeah,
here.
thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, hi. Thanks for giving this talk.
Yeah, welcome, Prof.
She has another session which is a bit more hands-on. She actually showed a worksheet, so they will get to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
some of that
That
in
will be
the
interesting.
next section. But in between, I think next week I'm going to be doing the talk on systematic review and meta-analysis a little bit more. So build on what she just spoke on. Yeah. And then they do the hands-on after that. So then by then, I think they'll have a lot
Today's
more.
talk is more introduction, and I think it will give them something to think about before they come back for the next 2 talks.
Yeah. If there's nothing else, then I think we can end the session. Is there any questions? If there is, there's some chat which is happening in the box. So, okay, all right. All right, so there's no questions in the box. If anyway, any questions? Okay, thank you. Thanks. So just fill up the feedback form, and then next week there will be another talk in regards to the review, and followed by a little bit hands-on, but it's online, where you get to do the keywords search and so forth. So you get to do your own as well. So I'm not sure, Renita, whether you want to send them the material on, you know how that worksheet, if you send it ahead, maybe they can start filling some things up. So then when it comes, by the time it comes to your session next month, they actually have some material which they can troubleshoot with you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all
I
right,
think
thank
already
you.
the research question, they already had the session with
Yeah,
Prof.
yeah, they generally have their research question objective. Maybe it needs to be tweaked, but they will be able to, if you send the sheet, maybe they can start listing keywords which they think are keywords, and then they can troubleshoot and confirm with you whether that is correct, or they should expand it or reduce it. So they'll have that to actually search on PubMed when they do the live session with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.